I sure do love it here on the Glades. The people and the land, it just all makes sense. Everyone is at peace here. And boy, I love Jenny and Tea Cake more than anything. I may just be another gossiping old goose on their porch, but they really do mean so much to me. Now, I've known Tea Cake for quite a while now, long before that girl came around and done stole his heart. We've been working together on the muck since I was half the size. He never did stay long, that was for certain, but he'd always come back, sometime, and everyone on the muck would come together, watch us slinging them dice. Most of the time, we wouldn't even be playing for money or nothing. We'd play just to play, and he was so good too. When he came back to the muck with Jamie and said it was to stay, we all knew it was because he had finally settled down with a woman. He sure is hung up on that Jamie. He cares about her more than he cares about picking his box or playing dice. I suppose it could be worse. Janie does treat him well. The way she loves him and he loves her back, he treats her just as she could be treated, and she returns the favor. I love the two of them. At first, when they came in he'd with Tea Cake on the fields all day, and Janie kept up in the housework, all boys round here thought she was uppity, thinking she was better than us because she was lighter. But when she came up to help Tea Cake in the fields, we all knew that she was just to do whatever she could help her and Tea Cake. I really just like to go with the flow round here. On the muck, ain't nothing but to work in the day and play at night. There never ain't no hurry neither. That's why I thought it was so darn funny when that hurricane struck all those folk who wanted to head east with the Indians and escape. Well, I thought they was plain crazy. There ain't nothing out east, nothing like what we got on the muck. And the white people stayed, so I knew that I was safe. If there was real danger, them white folks would have known. So we stayed, and Tea Cake and I played dice. Everyone gathered round real quiet while they held their breath, and all you could hear was the rain slapping against the roof and the wind smacking the windows. At one point, I can't quite recall, everyone else left. Then it was just me, Janie, and old Tea Cake sitting in the house and shooting dice. I hadn't been paying attention, but then there was a big old crack of thunder that made us look up, and I realized we was by ourselves. I remember I looked up, and I said, "Big Massa, draw him them chairs upstairs." Janie said something about how Tea Cake and me shouldn't have been shooting crap, but I didn't really hear. We just got real close and watched the door. I don't know whether we was expecting something to bust in and grab us real tight or just waiting for the water to come in through the cracks. That wind and that rain, well, it was so loud that halfway through I didn't know where the darkness outside stopped and became sound. After a while, I stopped watching. I was real tired, but I knew that if I kept watching the dark, I wouldn't sleep till I was dead. I woke up the next day to Tea Cake fussing at me about water in the yard and how I had to get up just then. We stepped out together, the tree and us, and we waded through the water just like that old spiritual. The tree and us, we held each other down and kept us all on the ground. The saddest part of the time was that we looked on Tea Cake's face when he had to throw out his box. It wasn't even that he was sad looking, it was that he tried so hard to make it look like it didn't matter. We passed some crazy sights out there. Whole houses flooding along the water, along with people. But the worst was when that damn dam broke. The whole lake came up behind us, and I was already feeling mighty tired. But Tea Cake told me to run, so I ran with him. Finally, we was too tired to go on, so we found a house to stay in. I was so ran down that I fell right to sleep. Then, the next thing I knew, Tea Cake was yelling and waking me up, saying that the lake was coming on again. Janie and Tea Cake wanted me to get out of there real quick, but I was too dang tired to go nowhere. I told them I couldn't come with them, and that if the lake came on, I'd swim and be just fine. I told Tea Cake, I told him that he ought to stay and sleep and not leave me alone. But it turned out, when they left, I slept in that house while they ran away from the storm. But, wouldn't you know it, they're the ones who almost got wiped out by those winds and that rain. I found the two of them later, when they came back to the muck after the storm was over. When the two of them came back on the muck, I thought it'd just be like old times again. Tea Cake and I worked a couple hard weeks cleaning up all them storms mess. Then Tea Cake didn't come back to work for a while. There were people talking that Tea Cake was real sick. One day, Dockery and Sop the Bottom went down to visit him. They said he wasn't as sick as all that, and that he'd be back in the fields before we knew it. They also said that Mrs. Turner's brother was back, but I didn't think much of it at that time. But when I heard that Janie had shot old Tea Cake, well, I'm ashamed to say that the first thought that came to my mind is that she was running off with that uppity dog's brother. I stood in the back of the courtroom at her trial, and I was really angry at her until I heard what she had to say about Tea Cake and the sickness. The rest of them, Sop the Bottom and all them, they was still mad at her when she got off her trial. But that was just because they missed Tea Cake. I missed him too. But Janie missed him also. When I saw that funeral service she had for him, I knew that she missed him more than the rest of us put together. I never saw her after that service. The last thing I saw, Janie was walking away in her overalls.